What's up, you guys? It's Rob here. Today, we're going to be talking about ticker symbol AMC. We'll be covering it on the daily, weekly, and monthly time frame in anticipation of tomorrow's trading day, April 28th, Wednesday. So, the huge thing right off the bat, just want to get this out there. We have three huge events that are going on tomorrow. The Fed is going to be talking about interest rates. Joe Biden's going to be giving a speech, and then the Fed is also going to be speaking to the public. And I'm sure that we'll be hearing things about interest rates from that, and we'll be getting questions from that. So, tomorrow, definitely these three things could have an impact on the broader market. So, just be prepared for that and keep that in mind when you're investing in the stock market tomorrow and possibly into Thursday and maybe into Friday, depending on how the news is. Because any sort of news, really, when it comes to interest rates, we definitely do kind of get a little uneasy in the market. So I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if the broader market opens up and just kind of trades sideways and just is like, okay, like, let's see what happens. Let's see what the Fed says. Let's see what Biden says, kind of thing, because we're really sensitive to news right now. So just keep that in mind. But those are the three news catalysts, honestly, tomorrow that I think are going to be affecting the broader market. So just keep that in mind. But if you guys can, before we dive into technical analysis, do me a favor, drop a like down on this video. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. And thank you all for subscribing to my channel. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, a month ago, I was sitting here and I decided to start my YouTube channel and really just start taking off and just really committing to this. And the level of support that you guys have given me is just so much. And I don't know what to say besides thank you. That's really all that I can think of is thank you from the bottom of my heart. I cannot believe this. I look at my phone every single day and I see the fact that I have over 1,000 subscribers, and I'm overwhelmed with joy and I don't know what to say. So thank you guys so much. And thank you to all who subscribe for now and into the future. And let's just take this channel and let's take AMC to the moon, guys. So let's dive into technical analysis. But the huge thing that I want to talk about is we had a very bullish pre-market here. So we did have a nice run up here, and we really tested $11.90 several times today, which is a huge thing for this stock, because we know this is a level of resistance that once we get above, we can pretty much run and have a good run. And you can see that when we got above it during the intraday, we ran all the way up to $12.22 as our intraday high, which is really good. However, the thing is, we did break it and have it as a resistance, and then we had it as a support, and then we had it as a level of resistance. So this is the reason why that I'm really looking at $11.90 moving forward to tomorrow. Because if we can get above this and we can actually respect it as a level of support after testing it several times, we may have to test it 2 or 3 times and get rejected 2 or 3 times, but then on the 4th time, get above it, claim it as support, and then we never see below 1190 for the rest of the day. That would be awesome. But today you can tell that the stock, you're like, okay, let's get above. Okay, and then want to go below. And it kind of was like a little bit of a roller coaster ride is the best way to describe it. And I was not expecting us to close above 1190 today, because I knew that that would be a very lofty goal for the stock. And the huge thing is we closed above 1130, which is actually good. Now, some of you guys might say, well, Rob, we had a gap up in the morning. It's a very bullish market. We had a very bullish day. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you look at the 3 ETFs, so the S&P 500 ETF, the Dow Jones ETF, and the NASDAQ ETF, they all actually finished negative. And then the one ETF that I really want to point out here is QQQ, which is the tech ETF for NASDAQ. And it actually finished negative for the day at 0.43. So the huge thing is everything in the market finished red today. So the fact that we had a red day is not a bad thing at all. We actually probably needed this day, which is good for the stock. We had a very positive move yesterday, and followed by essentially, I'm going to say we traded within a dollar range like most of today, and we opened at what, 1168, and we closed at 1146. I'll take 20 cents. Like, It's not a big deal for me. I'm not panicking. I'm not worried. I'll read all the FUD articles, but I can tell you one thing. I'm going to poke holes in the FUD articles because I'm going to hold on to my AMC shares and diamond hand them till we go to the moon. But really taking a look here at the intraday, we did test 1190, and then we almost tested our support here in the morning of 11:30. We did test it here later in the day and actually broke through it and then regained it very quickly. So that shows a very bullish sentiment. So anytime that this stock got the chance to be below 11:30, people were just like, no, no, it's worth more than this. We're going to buy it up. And then we got back above 11:30. We only tested it once today. And what the good thing is after we retook it, we touched it several times and kind of actually had this cup handle, boom. So this is the 1 minute chart. So it's a very shallow cup, but we did have that movement there. So that's a thing to take a look at. Also, when we did dip down to 11:30, we were oversold on the RSI. That's a huge thing. And then the other thing to take a look at is the MACD. We had very volatile moves today. We had one nice period of consolidation up here that I want to point out. It was definitely good consolidation. It was sitting at 1190, which is good because it's on the upper end of where we were trading at for the day. So it's a bullish consolidation. We did have a little bit of a consolidation down here around 1160, and then we had our fall down. But the huge thing is that I want to take a look at is this gold line. This gold line is what's called the VWAP. It stands for the volume weighted average price. So if you bought a share of AMC today, did you profit from buying it or did you not profit from buying it? If we traded above it for most of the day, and if you trade above it for most of the day, you gained money from that buying that share today. It's only an indicator for today's movement. It is not an indicator for past movements or anything like that. So we kind of traded 50-50. So it depends really on when you bought your share of AMC today. You bought it down here, then you definitely did profit. But if you bought it up here, you definitely didn't profit from it today, kind of thing. So the one other thing that I really just want to harp on is we made very volatile moves today. So we definitely need to have a little bit of a cool off and just kind of bring that volatility down if we can. In the after hours, we're currently trading at $11.35. So we've actually moved down a little bit. But let's hop out here to the 5-day. And the huge thing I want to talk about here on the 5-day is I drew out this trend line that we'll take a look at more on the month scale. But we're still respecting this trend line, which is a very good thing. The only indicator that I want to really point out that is not good is we're trading now below our 60-day and 120-day moving averages, which technically puts us in a macroscopic bearish situation, which is confirmed here by the MACD. So that will give us our confirmation that we are in bearish territory. However, when we did close today, our RSI was sitting at 38. So we're headed towards oversold. So the fact that we made this far of a move to the downside says that the stock feels like it's borderline oversold kind of thing. So we definitely do have some room and plenty of room to move back up and get it more towards neutral, if not towards overbought. But taking a look at the 1 month time frame, personally, this is my favorite time frame because I'm a long-term investor. So back here on the 13th, we were trading at 831. Today, we're trading at 420. We're trading at not 427, 1146 on 427, which is great. And you can see the trend line that I really drew out here. We're still respecting this trend line and we're still very far above the trend line. Now, the only thing that is a downside is we are now below the 20-day moving average, which is not really that big of a deal. We're still above the 60-day and we're still above the 120-day moving average on the 1 hour timeline here. So keep that in mind. That is definitely a good thing for the stock. So we are doing really good. The one thing I want to also point out is yesterday when we closed our RSI was sitting at 73 to 75-ish. So we were overbought on the RSI. Today, we had a negative 0.35% day and we only dropped 4 cents from our open roughly-ish. We took that RSI from overbought to 47.14. So we're sitting below neutral and we only moved 0.35%. Not that big of a deal. Like we had 10% yesterday and we gave up 0.35% and we reset the RSI from overbought to below neutral, I'll take that for a technical analysis person. The only thing that I really don't like here on the 1 hour, 1 month time frame is that we do have this bearish crossover here on the MACD, and we are definitely very overextended. And this is one of our more overextended moves. But I mean, yesterday we did have a 10% move, so we are going to be overextended, and I'm not terribly surprised by that. But the next thing I really want to do is I want to hop out to the day range and just take a look at the day. Because the huge thing is yesterday, if we took a look at that MACD, we had this bullish crossover. We still have that bullish crossover, and for the day, we still have a green candle on the day time frame. The huge thing that I'm kind of starting to see here, and it's kind of a loose W, but if we make another couple candles here, we might have a nice W on the day time frame. We are trading above the 20-day, 60-day, and 120-day moving averages, which is definitely a positive sign for the stock. Our RSI is sitting at 59, so we didn't really move much from yesterday. I mean, it's not a bad thing. We have that bullish indicator here on the MACD on the day time frame. So really tomorrow, we got to be looking at $11.90 to the bullish upside. That is the huge place that I'm going to be looking at tomorrow is how many times are we going to test 1190? And are we going to be able to get above 1190 and claim it as support and then not see it again? Because that is my bullish move that I see. But if we move bearish, because we did have a little bit of a bear day today, I mean, it was the broader market. And I also am kind of taking into account the 3 news catalysts that I talked about earlier in the video that could definitely drive the stock market tomorrow. So if we do have a down day, I would be looking at 1130 and seeing what we do with 1130. Do we bounce off of it as support and just kind of trade a little bit above it and just do a nice day of consolidation? Or are we going to break down below 1130 and then we're going to go retest that $10.50 support kind of thing? So it's a very far range between 1130 and $10.50, but really there's not much of a support between those 2 points. They get wider as the more we go up. So keep that in mind. But I really hope we don't have a bearish day tomorrow because we do want to continue respecting this trend line, but we can afford to have a red day on here and still continue to respect the trend line, which is not a bad thing at all. So just keep that in mind. We're still moving in an upwards direction, and just on the 13th, we were trading at a low of 831. Fast forward 14 days, we're trading at $11. We would give anything back on the 13th to be trading at $11. So we need to just appreciate this day and just be patient. Yes, we were slightly red. It's going to be okay, guys. It's not over. This is far from over. And I will tell you this, it is absolutely not a dead cat. It's not a dead cat. Anyone can tell you it's a dead cat. Someone can tell you it's a dead cat. Well, I can tell you this, they're a silly chicken and it's not a dead cat. So anyways, enough of that. Let's go ahead and hop over here into Ortex. I do want to cover the short interest data because once again, I feel like a record when I say this every single day. Shares on loan, another new record high. Our short interest did increase 0.19%, and our short interest or free float is sitting at 23.93%. Now keep in mind, this is from Ortex. This is the absolute bare minimum. Bare minimum. So we're sitting at a bare minimum of 23.93%. 10% is a shorted stock. 20% is considered an extremely shorted stock. So keep that in mind. Our current short interest is 99.96 million shares, and that's estimated. April 15th, reported to the exchange, 93.89 million shares reported. So we have seen an increase of over 6 million shares literally in the past 12 days. So keep that in mind. Our short interest is still continuing to increase. We had 3.21 million shares borrowed today and 2.93 million of them returned. So we probably saw a good bit of shorting today. I would not be surprised. The shorts are going to continue to double down. They're going to continue to try to beat the stock down until literally the stock squeezes and then it goes through the roof. And then they're sitting in their office in their suit, crying like a weenie baby suit does. That's what's going to happen. The borrowed change here is a positive 287,290. So we're adding 287,290 shares to the shares on loan, which is 154,500,000. No, my bad, 50,000. Huge deal. That's a lot of shares, like a lot. The other thing that I want to talk about is our days to cover. So your days to cover is calculated by your shares on loan, which is this 154 million, 154.05 million, calculated by our daily average volume. Well, Ortex uses the 3-month range, which is this number up here, which is 128.54, which is not really indicative and doesn't indicate a good average volume because we're not trading at 128.54 million shares. We only traded 50 million shares today. So we traded roughly, let's just be easy here with math, a third of that. So if we hop back here to Ortex and we go, well, how many times does 50 go into 154? Well, roughly 3. So right now our days to cover isn't 0.99. As of today's volume of 50 million shares is 3 days to cover. And the shorts would literally have to use all the shares in today's volume alone. So not one person who holds AMC could buy. The shorts would have to literally say, okay, for the next 3 days, we're going to average 50 million shares and we're going to have to cover all of our position. So that's significant and that is huge. That's also the reason why this cost to borrow fee just continues to go up. 7 days ago, it was 7.23. That is huge. And our utilization is at 100% still. So keep in mind, this is the bare minimum, absolute bare minimum for AMC. And this doesn't include shorting through ETFs. It does not include shorting through naked shorts and all that kind of stuff. So this is the bare minimum. This still can absolutely squeeze, and I still plan on this absolutely squeezing. I don't know when it will squeeze, but we definitely have the factor here of short interest. We just need other factors to step in and help us really help the shorts feel the pain. But that's what I got for you guys today. Overall, it wasn't the best day for AMC, but hopefully tomorrow will be a better one. And I'll see you guys the next one. And just remember, buy the dip. Peace.